Hello and good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on where you're calling in for this session. Thank you all for joining today's D&H Solutions Lab webcast. This is a platform that we leverage to create awareness and generate excitement around cool technologies uh, that are in the market available through D&H in partnership with our technology vendors. And the goal of these sessions is to arm you with the fundamental basics and knowledge on a particular subject so you can go and provide value to your clients and help them address their unique business needs and use cases with these technology solutions. My name is Shane Senna, and I will be the moderator for today's webcast. I'm also the HPE sales specialist at D&H Canada, and I help partners with their HPE sales and pre-sales needs, as well as navigating the HPE partner-ready programs and resources to help them maximize the benefits of the HPE partnership. Our presenter for today's webcast is Andrew Perchuluk. Andrew is the HPE pre-sales leader for HPE storage and data services for Canada, and he's got an exciting presentation he's eager to share with you all. Our topic for today is HPE VM Essentials, which is a new hypervisor software solution HPE launched in market earlier this year. This is an important topic because, as most of you know, in November of 2023, Broadcom acquired VMware. At $69 billion, this was one of the largest acquisitions we've seen in the technology sector. And VMware is a dominant and major vendor in the hybrid cloud and hypervisor space. So this announcement has created a lot of uncertainty in the market around the future outlook of VMware. And over the past 24 months, we've all witnessed the impact of this acquisition, resulting in significant price hikes and changes in their licensing model and go-to-market strategy, leaving many customers in the dark without support, and majority of channel partners being deauthorized for not meeting the new partnership requirements, which today is by invite only. Your customers are depending on you to translate technology solutions into business value and help them through these difficult times with their virtualization and hybrid cloud journey. And you now have a competitive alternative enterprise offering from HPE in VM Essentials you can propose, which you'll learn more about momentarily. A bit of housekeeping. You are encouraged to ask questions throughout the webinar using the chat functionality, and we will address them either during the session or at the end during the Q&A. We will also have a few polls, so please participate, as we'd love to hear your feedback. There's also a resources folder where you will find a copy of today's presentation available to download and information on the D&H HPE team. And for those of you that would like to review this webcast at a later date, there will also be a recording of this session available on the D&H portal. I will now pass it over to Andrew to kick off the main event. Over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. Welcome, everybody. I'm looking forward to the topic and the presentation today. And as Shane said, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'd love to hear your feedback and answer what we can for you. Let's go on to the next slide. So we're going to start with a little poll just to set the tone here. We're just wondering from everybody that's on, what options are you proposing to your customers that are looking for VMware alternatives? We're seeing kind of everyone is looking for an alternative right now to VMware. Many customers are asking for options. So just curious if you can answer the poll and let us know what you guys are positioning out of this list. We'll give it a minute and then we'll move on to the answers. If you can quickly answer that. Okay, let's go to the next one and see what we got for results. A lot of Hyper-V, a lot of other. Okay, oh, they're coming in here live. We got some Morpheus VM Essentials, good. Hopefully we'll have more of that after today's conversation. But yeah, it's all over the place, right? Like what do you present as options? So why are we here? The reason why customers, like I mentioned and Shane mentioned, are looking at alternatives is because of the situation of where Broadcom has put our customers. They're seeing 2 to 4 times price increases from what they used to pay when they could get perpetual licenses a couple years back, on average, right? If you see in the fine print here, some customers are seeing 15 times increases. I had a customer that was a school division out in Western Canada. About a year and a half ago, they got their renewal from VMware. They had about 30 different schools in different rural areas that they'd put a couple servers in, small servers, run VMware Robo, because it was a great fit to put a couple VMs there to keep the lights on those schools when they couldn't connect to the main data center. VMware, with their renewal, said that you have to go to VCF because of all these locations, and they gave them a renewal quote, and they looked at it and they said, this is higher than our IT budget for the year, our whole IT budget. So in their case, they were probably 15, 20 times more than what they used to pay. They absolutely couldn't even afford it. They told VMware this. They said, we don't have this amount of money for our all IT budget. What can you do? VMware took it away and came back and gave them about a 10% discount. So they had to go somewhere else. They couldn't even afford VMware if they wanted to. But because of these types of what they're doing to our customers, we need to kind of give them valid options. They're pushing everyone to the highest level. They're taking away ELAs and options. This is just coming from Gartner. We're seeing an industry trend where customers are repatriating and moving cloud workloads back on premise. So another reason why we want to capture not only the VMware customers looking to move to something else, but customers that are moving and repatriating workloads from the public cloud back to on-prem, moving into that more hybrid model. We also want to kind of provide some help to them as well. And this is a trend we're seeing. 83% of customers are moving some workloads back on premise because they're seeing that public cloud isn't a fit for everything. It's there's an expense to that, and certain things shouldn't go there. They make more sense on premise. I like this slide just to show VMware was such a strong market leader. They still are. They had probably close to 100% of the market share, 95 at least, over the years. I used to be with a customer, and I used to run VMware shops in our environments, and it was so easy to roll out, to maintain, to create VMs. So you would end up with hundreds, if not thousands, of VMs in certain customers, because it's very, very easy to support, maintain, and create VMs, and it works really, really well. And the licensing model was very affordable. And so now we have all these customers in that situation where replatforming is very, very difficult. Taking those VMs and putting them onto bare metal, or moving them over to containers or microsegmentation, or these sort of things. This is very, very difficult migration process to do. So what we want to do with HPE Morpheus VM Essentials is offer them an easy path to continue to use this VM architecture, but on a new platform for a much more affordable cost, but with very little change that they have to consider. So HPE, I think Shane said earlier this year, I think last December, we went live with Morpheus VM Essentials, and we started selling it standalone first. This is I'll get a little bit into the architecture, but it's based on KVM, which is an open source hypervisor stack that's been out for probably 20 plus years now. So it's been around. We're layering in on top of that the feature set and the administrative capabilities to make everything work, because the hypervisor by itself, KVM doesn't do too much as aside from a hardware extraction layer. This just kind of shows a bit of the architecture we have. So we're using them, and we're also we acquired a company called Morpheus. HPE is acquired a company called Morpheus that is they were a software provider. They've been around more than 10 years now. HPE was using them. If you look at this gray line here, HPE, they're a software stack, an enterprise software stack that HPE was using to manage our environments for our customers. So anyone that's familiar with the GreenLake cloud platform, when customers log into that and they see their HPE infrastructure within that, we're providing multi-tenancy to customers around the world, and we're actually leveraging Morpheus to do that. So Morpheus, we were one of their biggest customers, so we ended up purchasing them because it made sense for us. We also found out during the purchase that they had a hypervisor that they were working on that was very full-featured and close to VMware vSphere Enterprise Plus that had been in beta for a couple of years, and they were using this to run their platform. So with that purchase and acquisition, we caught up to VMware very, very quickly. So we're leveraging this with KVM to offer our hypervisor. And so I'll go into a little bit of the details. It is called HPE Morpheus VM Essentials software. A lot of people call it VME for short. That's kind of what everyone's referencing. You'll hear a lot of that. This is the management console, what it looks like. We at onset in last December, we had kind of a full-featured where we offer multiple storage protocols, so you can leverage NFS, iSCSI, Fiber Channel, even local storage with our Simplifies platform, and things like DRS, that moving VMs around on busy hosts and stuff like that. We offer that. High availability, clustering, live migration, snapshotting, all of these things that are kind of table stakes in the VMware infrastructure, and customers used to VMware. Everybody's used to these features. They can be very difficult for other vendors to implement, but we have those today, and we're offering those so that you don't have to lose functionality moving to this platform. We also have a lot of plugins as far as IPAM, DNS, migration capabilities. I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. We have some great migration options. One of the biggest things that we offer is our HPE Global Support Organization is backing the support on our VM Essentials. So when you purchase a socket-based license, we're not core-based, we're selling this as a socket license, and you can buy a 1-year license all the way up to a 7-year license. So you can choose kind of what you want to do, but we're socket-based, and when you buy the license, you get support. So we'll support the VM, the hypervisor. This runs on Ubuntu, but it's all packaged in to an image, and the whole package is provided by HPE. We even support the Ubuntu, and if you're running on certified hardware, we'll support you right down to the hardware stack as well. So a lot of KVM offerings out there, alternatives like Proxmox and those types of things, we've heard don't have the greatest support models or can be difficult to deal with. Obviously, that's one thing that we've addressed. Another big item around that is we're seeing on average about a 90% savings with VME over VMware. So it's quite a substantial saving over VMware. And so I talked about Morpheus and that acquisition and how they're the ones kind of helping us create and maintain Morpheus VM Essentials, VME. We're on a monthly release cycle right now. So every month we release a new version of VME. The October release is out now. I think it's 8.010. And with the November release will be coming out, I think, next week. And so with the new release, we offer new features and new capabilities, and it's just an upgrade for customers running it to get those new features. So with the October release, there's some ransomware detection integrations that were built into the product. All you have to do is upgrade your VME, and then you would get access to enable those items. And you can see here with VM Essentials, you can manage with the VME Manager, which is a little VM, kind of like your vCenter. VME Manager lets you manage your VME clusters, and it also lets you manage your VMware vCenter clusters. You can import your vCenter clusters into VME. If I go back one, this is the management portal here. You can manage both your VME and your vCenter. Why is that important? Well, for customers that want to move from VMware over to VME, now you're managing both from within here. We have a migration tool called Rapid. It's the Rapid Migration tool that's built into VME, again, included with the licensing, where you can create a migration project of your VMware VMs. Again, create a project based on a certain workload. You can take those, map them to the storage on VME, the networking, set up your settings, and then push a button. It'll actually take those VMware VMs, copy them over to VME, convert them, pull out the tools, put in the VME tools, and automate everything, and then spin them up in VME so that you can have automated, easy migration from one to the other. So that's why that's important. For those that are, we also, like I talked about how HPE is leveraging the Morpheus Enterprise software for our bigger customers that maybe need a lot of more capabilities than just VME. I would say VME is very similar to vSphere Enterprise Plus. And for those that maybe were VCF customers that are leveraging all those features, we would potentially offer something like Morpheus Enterprise software. And the Morpheus Enterprise software can manage things like containers, bare metal, multi, hypervisor, even public cloud. And there's a lot more feature set and things like that that you can do with Morpheus Enterprise. This is also a socket-based license, and you can run a mix in your environment. You could have some VME, some Morpheus Enterprise. You can also start with VME and upgrade to Morpheus Enterprise later on. There's an upgrade license if that's something that customers need. But I think for most of the customers in Canada, VME is going to be a really good fit. And some of those really big enterprise customers might look at Morpheus Enterprise.
Andrew, we
Yes.
do have a couple of questions in the chat if you want to take a quick look and see if you want to address them right now.
Sure, let me see here. Okay, so there is one about, we selected Proxmox as a replacement to VMware. Its main feature over Hyper-V in VMware is that we can let the host directly manage storage instead of requiring a RAID card for storage management. How is local RAID storage handled with HPE? So with HPE VM Essentials, we, like I talked about earlier, we allow shared storage. So shared storage can be Fiber Channel, can be NFS, can be iSCSI. So you can have a shared storage array connected via any of those protocols. And it, again, doesn't have to just be an HPE storage array. It can be, we support many vendor arrays out there. As far as local storage, you can create local volumes on the servers themselves, but they won't be accessible across the cluster. Our HCI solution is SimpliFity, and I'll show that in a little bit, how that works. Hopefully that answered that one. Are there any compatibility issues with legacy Windows servers, old gen HPE servers? So we have a whole compatibility matrix and things we've certified to run VM Essentials on. There's an online link that we can share afterwards that has, updated. I talked about this being a monthly update cycle. The compatibility matrix is also updated regularly as well. We have a client with VMware on Dell and ME4000. Can we purchase HP Morpheus to run on the Dell compute hardware? Or do we have to use HP hardware? No, you don't have to use HP hardware. We also offer a trial version of VM Essentials. So there's a 30-day trial that can be downloaded. We can work with your customers on helping with a POC as well. So you can try out the software on the hardware. And again, we have a compatibility matrix online. We'll have to check to see if that's on there. Just because it's not been certified doesn't mean it won't work. But with the trial, we can test things out and do a POC to see if it will work on that hardware. So let's go on to the next slide here. HPE's traditionally, we've been a big VMware partner. We have most of our solutions have been, or a lot of them have been released with VMware running on them. So things like our Private Cloud Business Edition, which is our disaggregated hardware stack, has been VMware in the past. We now are actually shipping that with VM Essentials instead of VMware. You can still run it on VMware, but we're actually shipping it with VME by default first. So then we're seeing a lot of customers purchase this and start to run DHCI. I think every month we're kind of seeing our VM Essentials customers double, across the globe. So it's growing very, very fast. So there's a big opportunity for our partners like you guys that are listening today to take advantage of this. So I'll blow this one out, but this is the Private Cloud Business Edition that I talked about. This is with Electra DHCI. So we have our traditional stack. We have our Electra MP storage array here at the bottom, and then you can have as little as 3 servers plus networking fabric. This typically was a VMware vSphere package, but now it's shipping with VM Essentials. And the nice thing about this is we call it disaggregated hyperconverged because it is traditional stack, but you can choose to upgrade your storage by 2 drives at a time or your compute independently of each other. You don't have to, like HCI, put a node in which has storage, compute, memory, and then more licensing. And then the nice thing about this is it's all managed through VM Essentials. Even the updates of the firmware and the drivers, the software, it's a one-click upgrade to upgrade all of it through VM Essentials. Does HPE have tested with backup solutions like this Veeam or data? I'll talk about that in a little bit, guys, in a further up slide. And do we have a solution for SDN, software-defined networking like NSX? Yeah, I'll talk about that in a little bit too, guys. So that was our DHCR disaggregated solution that we're shipping with VM Essentials now. We also have our HCI solution, which is called Simplifies. Again, this has been a VMware option for the longest time. We're now actually shipping this with VM Essentials. And this is a hyper-converged, so you have your storage and everything built into the nodes, and we can do as little as a 2-node for high availability. So we can do a 2-node cluster with VM Essentials. This has inline compression, deduplication. It has built-in backup, or you can leverage one of the top backup providers out there, and we protect the data with local RAID plus RAIN, which is replication across the nodes. So you can lose a node. If we look at collapsing the stack here, you can lose one of the nodes, and you can still lose multiple drives in the other node and still be up and running with HCI. And this is a very, very affordable solution. I think we've priced some 2-node clusters with VME licensing and potentially, and this has inline compression and dedupe on the storage. So even like say 10 terabytes of raw capacity can be effectively, 20, 30 terabytes or more. We've priced some of these out with licensing for, even under $30,000 Canadian. So it's a great high availability stack for some of our smaller customers or that are out there, or even edge solutions. Core functionality. So our goal at HPE is with VME to offer up the core functionality that customers are used to and actually using within VMware. So, I mean, VMware VCF has 100 different options and features, but customers typically are only using a small subset of those. So things like high availability, we have that live migration of VMs and storage motion. We have that as well within VM Essentials. Validated multi-vendor hardware compatibility. We're testing and have certified a lot of third-party hardware along with HPE's hardware and even older generations of servers and storage and stuff. And we've also done that for third-party, and we have that online available to show what we've already validated. I think what you're going to see is maybe a little more rich feature set for running this on HPE versus running it on some third-party gear, but we're still supporting third-party options. So we do have an Electra MP storage plugin, which allows you to do a lot more things with Electra MP storage versus, say, like a Dell storage array, but you can still run it. Dynamic resource placement, we have that as well. VM migration, I talked about, we have a rapid migration tool that's built into the product as of 8.09 or 8, I think, 9, I think. So early in the summer, we came out with the rapid migration toolkit that's built into VME. So you can migrate from VMware to VM Essentials and create those packages. That is an offline migration toolkit. We do have online options as well. We have some software, and our services team can leverage. It's a price. There is a price per VM for the online migration tool, but we can work with you guys to find out what kind of the customer's needs are and plan it out accordingly. I think there's a huge opportunity for partners to offer services because customers are asking, what can I do? What can I what can I move to instead of VMware? Obviously, you guys are their trusted advisors. You can recommend, say, VM Essentials, and then once we get our partners prepared and ready to help, you can offer migration services to get them from VMware to VM Essentials. And this is a rinse and repeat. I think over the next 5 years, we're going to see a ton of opportunity where you can take customer from VMware, move them to VME, obviously make some money with some services to help them through that, and then rinse and repeat that over and over and over again. There are so many customers out there asking for this right now. HPE Services is doing this for customers, but we prefer to have our partners enabled to do this, and that's what we're here to kind of help you guys figure that out. Someone asked about software-defined networking and NSX capabilities. We do have our Aruba CX integration for microsegmentation. So that's there today. You can integrate with the Aruba CX, certain CX models and get microsegmentation. There'll be more on the roadmap of that coming to, especially with, as we're figuring out the Aruba and Juniper kind of integrations. Competitive per socket pricing. Again, we're per socket, not per core. Don't care if you have 128 cores in your CPU. It's one license. Again, you can buy a 1 year all the way up to a 7-year license. The list price Canadian is $869 per year per socket. And obviously we can get a bit of a discount on that list price as well. So when I said we're seeing on average about a 90% savings, depending on the solution and kind of what we're doing with the customer. Some are seeing much higher than that. 90% versus VMware on average. I'd say even higher versus, say, a Nutanix over VM Essentials. We're seeing even higher than that, but very, very competitive socket pricing. So here, somebody asked about backup support and stuff like that. So We do have, this is a bit of an ISV mapping that some of the ISVs that we're working with. Veeam, so we're working with our top three backup providers globally: Veeam, Commvault, Cohesity. We do have open APIs, so other backup providers can, maybe working to integrate VME as well. But this is kind of the main ones that I can share today. Commvault, they released earlier in the summer agentless. Agent-based works, and we've tested and validated, but they also have image-based or agentless working. Veeam, we've tested and validated agent-based. They're actually, Veeam's going into beta right now for agentless. So they're taking on a number of beta customers and are working on that. I think their next major release, if I'm not mistaken, is version 14. When that, they're so obviously going through the beta right now, and then later next year, early next year, we'll be releasing full support for agentless on Veeam. We do have customers actively moving over to this right now. They're Veeam customers. They're putting agents onto their VMs temporarily, and then plan is to move away from that next year when agentless comes out, and then just pull the agents and go to agentless at that time. Cohesity as well, we're working on. We've done a lot of testing with the major database providers like SQL, Oracle, MongoDB, Postgres, VDI, Citrix, Horizon. We're working with and have tested and validated. Milestone for video surveillance, and then there's others that we're kind of working on. This is not, again, an all-inclusive list, but it's just kind of showing the main ones. And if there's questions about certain things or whatever, we can always look at it. Any plans for data backup? I've heard that. Well, I'll have to take that away and look into it. I don't know off the top of my head where that is at. I did talk about, we have an online public matrix that you can look at. This is just a snapshot from that. We will share the link with you guys afterwards in the resources, and you'll be able to take a look at the current situation. And it will show different software, where we're at with the software providers. Plus, it'll show the hardware compatibility list for servers and storage. And then it'll also show guest OSs that we've validated and certified as well, and stuff like that. So, and then we can always, if there's certain things that your customers are interested in or need, you can bring that to us and we can look into it and see where that's at. There is a self-validation process now. So customers or vendors, like Dato, for example, can actually reach out to us. There's a process now where they can self-validate their software to run on VME. So we have some customers that are running VME now, and they've been reaching out to their application providers and asking them to go in and self-validate their applications with VME. And so they reach out to us, and this can be for software or hardware. And they reach out to us, and then we provide them with a lab or instructions on what they have to kind of go through to become certified. We kind of work through that with them, and then review the logs, and then at a certain point, we can validate and add them to the list for being certified to run on VM Essentials. And then how can we help? Like I said, we have a 1 year up to 7 year licensing. So we can offer 1 to 5 years, just standalone CPU licensing for VME. And if you purchase on SimpliVity or PCBE, Private Cloud Business Edition, we can do up to 7 years on those stacks if you're interested. So we do have customers saying, well, how are you guys going to pull it's funny, they say, you're going to pull a VMware. You're super, super cheap right now, 90% savings over VMware, but what if I buy a license and I start running it, and then next year I go to renew? Is it going to be 10 times the price. Well, and the answer is you can buy 7 years licensing right now if you want. We're not looking to pull a VMware. We're offering a really competitive, great value per CPU licensing, and our goal is to free up. So I give an example. I did this presentation for a customer, a bunch of customers, and one of the customers came up to me afterwards and said, this was a couple of months ago, and they said, I have to renew my VMware licensing because it's due next week, but I was looking at a 5-year license, and it's going to be, I said, well, how much is that going to cost? And for this particular customer, it was going to be $400,000 for the 5-year license. And I said, well, what's a 1 year going to cost you? And they said a 1 year is going to be $100,000. And then I said, well, how many sockets do you have? And we did the math, and based on the socket count, VME would have cost them at list price about $9,000. So, 90%, even more than 90% savings there. And so they actually went back and renewed for 1 year. And now we're actually actively working with that customer on a POC and a migration strategy to move them over to VME in the next year, so they don't have to renew VMware next year. So, and in that $9,000, they've now freed up, $91,000 a year in the money that they were just going to spend with VMware. You guys as partners can leverage that. Our hope is that customers will maybe take some of that money and spend it on some HPE infrastructure or other tools like that. But then our partners can take that money that was only going to be spent on VMware and capture it for some migration services from other projects the customer is working on, and kind of do more with their budgets that they were only going to be able to spend on VMware previously. So that's the hope. Right? We want to capture additional revenues and additional services with the customers that they were only going to spend on VMware. So that's why we're offering this, true alternative to VMware for them. Just wondering, training will be available for VME and will be part of HPE's certification program. Yeah, it definitely will be a part of the certification program. I know there's some internal education stuff where it's on there now, so that's going to be coming. I'll have to find out kind of where that's at. D&H might be able to help us look into that too. We have been offering, we can do more in-depth roadmaps for you guys, one-on-one. Just let us know afterwards. We'd be happy to set some stuff up, and you can pull us in to kind of meet with your customers and help do this type of presentation for them as well. I don't know if you guys are familiar, we used to do these nimble training sessions. We called them NTSs. We've done Electra ones, PHCI ones. We're now doing what we call VTS training workshops. They're one-day courses, instructor-led, with technical workshops with hands-on labs. And we kind of go through top to bottom VM Essentials, the architecture, what it is, how it works. And then we even do some labs. There's a migration lab. There's a lab of managing VM Essentials VMs, clusters, even VMware within it. And we've done about, I think, 12 of those across Canada the last 2 months, and we've got more being scheduled. So we can certainly loop you guys into those trainings. Again, all the major cities across Canada, we're running these, and we will be running more. So let us know if that's of interest. The other thing we're doing when we present this to customers, we usually offer up a cloud physics assessment, which looks at their VMware environment, helps us kind of get a handle on what they have, and then where they're going, and especially can be a good starting point when we're looking at migrating them from VMware to VM Essentials. Even has licensing comparisons in there. It'll show based on their environment what their VMware licensing is costing, and what it'll cost on VM Essentials and the savings they can achieve. We have on-demand labs as partners. If you're an HPE partner and you have access to our portal, you can actually go in and run the on-demand labs and play with VM Essentials right now. There's 3 labs. I believe there's a setup lab, there's a kind of an administration lab, and then there's a migration lab that you can do. And we can get customers vouchers for free access as well to those labs. And then we're actively working with a number of customers on POCs. So customers say, I like this, it looks great, what's next? We can actually get them licensing, do a 30-day POC in their environment. We look at kind of what hardware they have, if we can run it on that hardware, or we can get them some gear to run it on. Excuse me, just a sip here. And then we'll actually help with the POC help. And you guys can shadow and learn and assist as well. So we can kind of help with that and then come up with get everything working, test some workloads, and then come up with a migration strategy to move. For smaller customers, it might just be a quick move. And for really large customers, you might want to start and have we're working with some big customers where they're going to start with some test dev, move that over, and then as their VM renewals come due, they're going to move more and more stuff over the coming months and years. We'll share a bunch of resources with you guys afterwards that you can take a look at. And like I said, there's the trial, there's a lot of good documentation online, some great videos and guides. And yeah, and I think that is what I want to share today. But I think this is a great opportunity for our partners to kind of offer up to customers, and we would love to kind of pull us in when you need us. We'd be happy to present to your customers this option or teach you guys more about this stuff. So if there's any more questions, we'd be happy to answer them as well.
And Andrew, while we wait for some more questions, I think we have a couple more polls.
Oh yeah, more polls. Let's do the next poll. Yeah, here. This is a great question. How has Broadcom's acquisition of VMware and the resulting partner program changes affected your VMware business? Have you seen a significant decrease, somewhat decrease, neutral? Have you seen an increase in business? I think these are live, so I can go to the next one. Right? So, maybe I have to go back. We'll wait. We'll give it a minute. Significantly decreased, 100%. That's what I'm hearing. Unless you're a really big partner, you're and obviously I talk to a lot of partners in my role, and I know earlier in the summer they just canceled the business partnership. I forget the exact name of the partnership, but it was the business partnership where you could sell VMware, and they did it over the weekend so that on the Monday you no longer had access and couldn't sell. So if you had deals that you were working with customers on or hoping to close, they just got rug pulled from out. They rug pulled you, and you were no longer able to close those deals and help your customers. And your customers had to turn to a different partner to get their licensing renewal, which obviously is not ideal for any of us, right? So, so I think, and customers see that, and they're hearing that. So we want to help them. We can get you a quote for. I already told you list price. We can turn around a quote with D&H in less than a day, in hours for you. There's no waiting, like Broadcom. There's no surprises, right? We'll get you a quote right away. It's pretty easy. There's only a few different SKUs. It's fairly simple. We got one more poll, I think. Based on the HPE Morpheus VM Essentials conversation today, how would you like us to follow up with you? Yeah, let us know. Like I said, we can do more technical deep dive. Can even demo the product. If you're interested in a deeper roadmap, we can show you that too. We can, like I said, there's a few different SKUs and solutions. We can provide licensing and pricing and program details. And we'd be happy to reach out and support you guys on your opportunities with your customers. Just pull us in. We'd be happy to help with that. And we can send out some additional resources based on today's session as well. Any other questions? Just type them in the chat there and we'd be happy to answer. Hopefully this was useful for everybody and it's made you think that there is another option. I know from the first slide, there was a lot of Hyper-V out there and a little bit of VM Essentials. I think this is our goal is to offer up a real alternative to VMware. We're seeing hundreds and hundreds of customers running this now. Like I said, those numbers are doubling every month. And I think we have a great migration option and we'd like for our partners to start taking advantage of that and offering, building up your services and making some money off of that as well. And thank you very much.
And before we kind of wrap up, feel free if you got any last minute questions to put them in the chat. Once again, you have the ability to download a copy of this presentation along with an overview on the D&H HPE team so you can engage with us and let us know how we can help you, whether it's engaging Andrew or anybody else on his team or running some deeper dive sessions or other HPE solutions, or you want to, whether we should run another webcast on something totally different that your customers are requesting from your end. We'd love to hear your feedback. I don't see any more questions, Andrew, so at this point,
I think just to let you guys know too, we are on a monthly release cycle. This is moving really, really fast. The roadmap is very strong on VM Essentials. Anything like the Veeam agentless backup stuff, like any of the roadmap items we talk about, these things are not a year out. These things are weeks to months out. I have a customer who's running VME in production now. We met with the product management team. They actually told product management that our VM Essentials product management team that they would really like in VMware, they had a VM that they could create with no network card. And the reason they did that was for some security testing and some niche kind of testing they would do within their environment. We didn't have that. Product management said, oh, that's a great idea. They took that feedback. 3 weeks later, in the next release, we had that feature built into VM Essentials, and the customer could start taking advantage of it. So we'd even be happy to get product management in front of key customers if they're looking to kind of move forward with VM Essentials. I don't think you'll get Broadcom or VMware meeting with any of your customers at the product management level to incorporate features and what you might need. So yeah, we're here to support you guys and your customers. Awesome. Well, thank you. It was great talking to everyone today. We got quite a number of questions. That was awesome interaction. We really appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining today's session. And a copy of this recording will be available for view on the D&H portal. Once again, thank you and have a great day, everyone.